Pie Paideia, our vision for it was that this would be an event that's more outward-facing from the school, but it's the main idea here is paideia. So paideia is a Greek word. It comes from, for us, from the verse in Ephesians 6:4 that says, "Fathers, bring up your children in the discipline and instruction of the Lord." So discipline and instruction is a translation of paideia. And the idea of Greek paideia was bring them up to live the way you do, to be involved in all of the cultural aspects that you are familiar with and do every day, and teach your kids to be like that. So it's more than just education, but it's bringing them up to be Christians in the world who are able to make wise decisions and who are able to understand the world around them, who are able to be an effective part of the world and reason for Christ. And so we named it Pie Paideia, not only because it rhymes with pie, but because we want to get at that idea of what does Christian culture in the world look like, and how does classical education fit in with that. So if you look at different educational types, one of the best ways or simplest ways to break them down is to figure out what they're aimed at. So you guys have probably all seen some sort of motto about 21st century jobs, college and career readiness. And these are common aims of public schools, right? We're going to get your kid into college, we're going to get them a job, they're going to be successful in the job market of the 21st century. So that's a clear aim. It's a nice aim for public schools because it's really measurable. It's easy to tell if we succeeded or not because we had X number of students go to Harvard or X number of students go to MSU, and so we've succeeded. Another common one is political activism. So that's a goal of a particular type of education. And then you're going to teach your kids how to protest and teach your kids how to write letters to the editor and how to vote and how to sign up to be, polling people. And those are good things, but we think that education is aimed at something a lot bigger than getting a job or being politically active. We think it's aimed at living a good life, which can't really be tested until you're 80 or 85 or 90 years old. So parents, we'll be checking in when your kids are 90 years old to see whether or not our educational scheme has succeeded. It's a long game, so it's hard to measure, and it's hard to figure out, are we doing the best thing to get them there? But our goal is that when your kids, if you have kids at our school, are 95 years old, they're able to tell their great-grandkids about what they learned from Pinocchio when they were reading it in 1st and 2nd grade, or what they learned from Watership Down when they read it in 7th and 8th grade. And they'll be able to talk about how they've seen that lived out throughout their life, and be able to talk about a life of virtue. That they'll have been able to say, I've been happy for these last 85 years. Not happy like, woohoo, I got an Xbox for Christmas, but happy as in joy of the Lord in all circumstances. A real lasting happiness that comes from self-discipline, it comes from the fruits of the Spirit, it comes from self-government. So in order for us to say, hey kids, we want you to live a good life, we have to do that too. Because kids are very keen to say, well, mom doesn't actually do it, and so that means I don't actually have to do it either. So this is primarily an educational event for parents and community members, because if we're going to tell our kids, hey, learning is a lifelong process, and your K-8 or K-12 educational system is just the stepping stone towards that, we need to model that education is worthwhile through our entire lives. So you guys have gotten babysitters and somebody's watching your kids, or grandma is or something, so that you guys can come and we can educate ourselves about, in this case, a literature book, and we can continue to model that for our kids as something that's worthwhile throughout our lives.